All right, traders, this is Blake Morrow, and you are listening to the daily Roundup webinar. I hope everybody's having a great trading session, and I got some good news. I mean, there's a lot of good news that's going around today, but I got some really good news. For those of you that were missing Dale Pinkert, we spent the entire morning looking for Dale. Where's Dale? Couldn't find Dale. We were searching everywhere, contacting everybody, and good news is we found him. He was home without internet, and the funny thing is he actually called me and left me a voicemail, but I didn't check my voicemails because who leaves voicemails? Anyway, so Dale's good. He's back. His internet's back up. So, and that does happen from time to time. All right, let's talk about the market, and let's discuss a little bit of what's happening with the euro. So the euro, as we discussed earlier today, is hitting some resistance at the 38% retracement. We talked about this as we were, rallying out of this this channel this morning, hitting the 38% retracement, and obviously a break above this resistance here. This you can see that spike low right there. A break above today's highs is going to be pretty bullish. Now, I have to mention, there's a Eurogroup meeting that's happening right now, and in an hour and a half, they're going to have a press conference. There's, stimulus measures on the table. There's, the risk of a euro bond, which is actually an upside risk for the euro, just so you guys know. But that, I think they're a bit off on that, like time-wise and being able to agree. But there's an opportunity for the euro to actually move here over the course of the next hour and a half. So just keep an eye on the euro today, especially if we start breaching the highs of the day, which is 109.25. We're not too far away from there. We're about 20 pips away from there right now. That's something to keep an eye on. The cable is, as I pointed out this morning, this is resistance. We're pushing up against resistance. We're kind of holding the 618. Look, Boris Johnson seems like he is in good spirits and he's going to be fine. Let's hope. Let's hope that things don't progress worse. But the cable's up as a result, and with just general U.S. dollar weakness. I mean, if you look at the dollar index, and this is what we discussed yesterday, is the dollar index broke down, and we're continuing to slide. And if you look at where we could go in the euro, or in the dollar index. Okay, let me delete this really fast. Okay. So we are at the 38% retracement, the 50% retracement, which, let me adjust this. The 50% retracement comes in at 99.59, the 618 at 99.25. This seems like a more logical spot for us to stop, just because, it would, you can see where like the dollar index would trip those lows, probably stop out a few people and, and maybe bounce. One of the reasons why the dollar index could bounce is because, honestly, you look at the equity markets. Yeah, we're pretty bulled up right now. Are we going to find some resistance soon? My assumption is yes. My assumption is, we hit this 50% retracement, we're probably going to start to consolidate. And so if the stock market makes one more lunge higher, what's going to happen to the dollar? The dollar would probably make one more move lower, right? One more move lower before bouncing. So, one of these two levels, whether it's the 50% retracement or the 618, somewhere down here, we're probably going to start to see a bounce in the dollar, okay, as stocks pull back. So those are some things to think about. And if you want to know if stocks are going to continue to surge higher, I'd be watching the U.S. dollar Mexican peso. We are stopped at the 618 retracement. You see how we're pushing some of the support through here, right? We're not making new lows or a lower low. Let's just put it that way. We're not making a lower low. Not saying that we can't, but as long as we're holding this, 2380 level, well, you got to be a little careful with risk appetite, because if the dollar Mexican peso starts to really bounce, that's telling us that, we might have some risk aversion coming in, right? So that's something also to pay attention to. And gold's not doing anything. Silver's not doing anything. Crude, my God, it's crazy. All of these like production cuts that that producers are making, and surprisingly, crude has not been able to lift. And that's got to be really concerning. I mean, demand destruction is obviously rampant right now, right? I mean, who's driving? Um, but I would assume that crude at some point starts to find its footing. I just don't know where it is. I was thinking, oh yeah, crude's going to be back at $30, 30, $34, somewhere up here at some of these extensions. Yeah, that's just not the case as of yet. Not saying it won't happen, but I don't know how to trade crude. Well, first of all, I'm not a crude trader. I try to trade crude from time to time, and I'm not very successful at it. So I never have been. So I leave it alone. But I can't help but notice the lack of ability for crude to rally. And that does have me a little concerned, especially if you think about how far can stocks really go. This is one thing I want to leave you guys with, is something that I just mentioned in the chat room for ForexAnalytix. And for those of you that are not part of the ForexAnalytix, community, if you're listening this after the fact.
Everybody here is part of the ForexAnalytix community.
Oh, again, if you're listening after the fact via recording, Steve.
My mistake.
Right?
Yep.
Okay. So if you're not, then you're not in the chat rooms. But to get into our chat room, you have to be part of the ForexAnalytix community. And then you can listen to this webinar live. But what I was telling those people that are actually in the chat room that are in there chatting with us is that right now the market is riding high on the prospects that the cases are going down in numbers. The deaths will probably peak here this week and start going down. And that's all very welcome news. All of us, there isn't one person on the face of this planet that could not be happy, I wouldn't think, that the numbers are improving. And that we might see some sort of sense of, I don't want to say normality, but some sort of sense of normality in the coming months. At least there's maybe a light, maybe a glimmer of light at the end of this tunnel. But the markets are riding high on that right now. Probably in the coming days, we will start to see the market go, okay, what is the impact of the virus globally on growth, and how's it going to affect the markets moving forward? We're not there today. Today, everybody's cheering for the best. In the coming days and weeks ahead, things are going to get a little bit more rocky, and it's going to get a little bit more volatile. And that's why I think that, the S&P, even though we're stronger right now, we probably have limited upside. 2,800, 2,900, something like that is probably going to cap rallies in the coming days. But hey, between now and then, things could still improve, and we could still see, more quote unquote risk on. We could see more dollar weakness. So those are things just to think about as we continue to plow forward. All right, so guys and gals, remember, if you don't know how to get to the chat room, it's right here, right next to your avatar, up here. So I'll see you in the chat rooms. And for those of you that are not ForexAnalytix members, make sure you join and just take a trial. It's $1 for 10 days. All right, guys, thank you. Have a great one. And we will see you tomorrow morning on the FACE webinar. And Dale will be there. That's good news, right? Dale's going to be there. All right. See you guys.